Yo, guys, what's up, and welcome back to the Marvelous Chats podcast. This is episode 124. Tonight on the cast is myself, Finto, and Alex, aka Saberwolf. Tonight on the cast, we're going to be talking about Henry Cavill joining the MCU, maybe doing a bit of a theoretical fan casting, see where he might end up, and what roles people like to see him in, and so on. Other news, we have some Spider-Man 4 stuff to talk about. We've got the Demon Slayer movie that came out this week, and Borderlands trailer, and maybe some Daredevil behind-the-scenes stuff. So, yeah, plenty to talk about. So, without further ado, here we go. Yo, what's
Hey,
happening, dude?
buddy, how you doing?
I'm good, bro. How are you?
Not too bad, not too bad. Just got back from being at the hotel downtown.
Nice.
We went to go see Stomp.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, dude.
That,
I don't know if you're a fan of like plays or like any sort of theatrical stuff, but like to go see that stuff live, it's just amazing.
yeah, it's not something that I would say that tickles my fancy really, but there's been there's a good show by the guys who made South Park. What's it called? I think it's like the Book of Mormon or
Oh,
something like that.
yes, the
Or
Book of Mormon. Yeah, I know what you're
yeah,
talking about.
I'd like to go see that. Like, there's not a lot of like live shows that I'd like to go see, but I think that would definitely be on my list if it came here. But Ireland's not really a place for that sort of stuff. So I think it would
Y-
be like London's a big spot for that. So like, if you go to London, you go to a show, and Vegas and stuff have a lot of cool shows I've heard and all that sort of thing. But other than that, it's not really something that,
Well, like
is for us.
yeah, no, I get that. But like I gotta tell you, like if you do get a chance to see Book of Mormon, I think you'll really enjoy it.
Yeah, I've
It's
heard. I've
it
heard it's great.
Fantastic, and, I like, it was so good, I walked out and I was like, "I'm gonna buy as much merchandise as I can from them because I would love a mug, I would love some
Yeah.
pins, I would love, like."
Hell
So
yeah.
it was just a fun experience, got, like, a big mug, it says, "You won't believe how much this mug will change your life."
Love it. Love it.
So good.
Epic. Guys, if you're new to the channel, just hit the subscribe button or the like button or follow button or wherever you're listening or watching us, and leave us a comment. Let us know what you think. If you're listening to us on Spotify or Apple, leave a rating as well. That really helps the channel get seen. Do you want to just dive straight in? I
Yeah, by all means.
with the thumbnail being about Henry Cavill and stuff. I think let's talk about Henry first. So we kind of touched on it at the very end of last week's podcast. And in the week since the last podcast, I've been really like kind of noticing a bit more kind of talk about it online. There's been a few kind of roles popping around, like the Captain Britain thing is still out there. A lot of people were theorizing that he might be Doom. And then My Time to Shine, one of the big leakers, came out and said that no, he did accept something, but it wasn't Doom, which I'm kind of a little bit upset about, if I'm being honest, because I think him playing a villain would actually be fucking epic, in my opinion. And I think someone like Doom would be a really cool role for him. But before we get going, like, do you have any kind of places where you'd like to see him pop up? Like, would you like to see him play, like, the one of the ones I've seen, which I think is my favorite as well, would be like Cyclops, for example. I think Cyclops would be a sick role for him.
Cyclops would be awesome, I think originally that was played by James Marsden.
Yeah, I love him as
Um,
well. Like, if
I've
we could have him back, that'd be fantastic because he was incredible.
Yeah, I think he was really well picked for the role. I think it
Yeah.
worked really well. Because he just had that vibe and he had that look and it just looked really cool.
Think
And
about
it
that
would
movie. Sorry, just to talk about him for a second.
yeah.
Think about that first movie, X-Men. I think it was year 2000, right? Like, you've got Hugh Jackman, who is still Wolverine to this day, technically, and you've got like Professor X, played by Sir Patrick Stewart,
Mhm.
literally like one of the best castings of all time. And then you've got like Ian McKellen as Magneto, and you've got like Halle Berry as Storm and everything. Like, the casting was through the roof. It was incredible, perfect.
Yeah.
Like, honestly, like, and like I love those movies so much. Like, even I know the third one gets a lot of shit. Like, it was kind of seen as the kind of downfall, but I thought it was good. Even I can't think of the girl's name who played Jean Grey in the first like trilogy.
Oh, Famke Janssen?
Yeah, she was fucking brilliant as well. Like, they were all so good. So yeah,
Yeah.
I hope the
Uh,
MCU can cast properly and kick it off really well and kind of bring back that nostalgia of how good that first trilogy was.
yeah, and I agree wholeheartedly. I think I can't remember the actor's name, but he also played Lamplighter in The Boys. Like
Oh,
he
he was
was I
Bobby. He was Iceman.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, like that was
So good.
such a good role for him, and I love that. Like I especially loved it when Pyro was introduced and kind of had that like fire and ice situation, which I thought was like just
Love that.
one of the coolest things to see.
I loved
Um,
Pyro as a kid. Like I loved Pyro. Like I thought he was like really cool, and it's amazing to see that he's going to be in Deadpool 3. He was in the trailer for Deadpool 3,
yeah,
so that's sick. So maybe we get Iceman back as well. If we're getting Pyro, maybe we get Iceman too. That'd be so
yeah, but
cool.
it like the crazy thing about those movies though is that I noticed like watching it again was that they kind of underutilized the women. Like Anna Paquin's
How
like
dare you,
Rogue.
sir?
Dude, it's bad.
Yeah,
Like I think that they really like underutilized Rogue. Rogue is much more confident in the
I
shows. Like in
yeah, I
it,
hated that version of Rogue. Anna Paquin's version of Rogue was terrible. You're dead right.
yeah,
Like she was good in the first one.
yeah.
You know, her kind of her intro was great, and her
She
chemistry
was
with
still young.
Wolverine. Yeah, her chemistry with Wolverine is really good and all. Like how he kind of sees her as a kind of uncle slash dad sort of vibe. But yeah, then like I think she kind of takes a back seat very quickly after that. Because like
Yeah,
isn't she just spends the entire third movie just like crying about wanting to take the cure, which I fully understand because her power is awful. It's a curse.
right.
But at the same time, like the last kind of memories that we have of her is just complaining. So
Yeah,
kind of see why people don't like her.
it's a pretty big downfall because you like even if you were to portray her as she was in the animated series, like she probably would still want to go for the cure, but like
Yeah.
the way they do live action reasoning, it's very cringe in my opinion. Like honestly, Rogue would have been excited to try it because she's like, "Oh, I'd love to be able to touch people's faces and not like melt them."
Yeah, of course.
It's just like it's that's of course that's perfectly valid, like it's a valid reason. So but to make it so what's the word? Like dramatic, it just kind of really takes away things from who Rogue really is because she's a very confident person.
Mhm. Agreed.
Um
So back to square back around Cavill. Where do you see him
uh
if you could pick anywhere for him to show
Dude,
up?
like I want some goofy ass roles, but I also want it to be like long lasting goofy ass roles. Like I want him to be Galactus.
Okay.
Like I would love for him to be Galactus, the eater of worlds, just going through. Like, and like that's a big name. That's a big dude to fight. Like, cause at some point you fight Galactus in the comics. Like, why not just have that kind of scene, or even just I don't know, like something like, or even just kind of mask him a little bit, having do like Silver Surfer. I think that would be
Mhm.
even funnier because like like to me, masking his face and just having him like play the role would be really awesome because I mean he did really well in The Witcher. He did great as Geralt, but I just if they're not going to cast him as Doom, it's so hard to kind of throw him elsewhere. I think they had already cast for Sentry, which I think that would have been a great role for him. Um,
Yes, but the fact good that you bring Sentry up because I was going to talk about this. So there's two kind of like Superman style roles in the MCU. Sentry is one, and Hyperion is another.
Mhm.
The Sentry role was given to Stephen Yen, but he actually rejected the role, so it's back up in the air now. So I wonder, are they actually bringing Cavill in as Sentry, which would be like a complete 180 to the casting that they do have right now? But I, you know, I would personally like to see it. I think it would be really cool. I can't remember. I read it somewhere. Someone was talking about Hyperion and how what's the group that he's a member of? I can't think of the name of them right now.
Hyperion?
Yeah, he's like part of a group. They're
Ooh.
basically he's part of like a superhero group, and they are technically the Justice League of the MCU. I can't think of their name right now, but could you imagine? I saw someone say like, imagine like Feige did like the biggest baller move of all time and picked up all of like Snyder's characters and just brought them into the MCU as this group instead. So like you get Cavill as Hyperion, and there's like a Wonder Woman variant and like a Batman looking guy as well. Like it'd be so funny, dude. It'd be such a baller move from Feige.
Yeah, no, that'd be pretty interesting. In terms of like Hyperion, he's an Eternal. And he has different affiliations. I just pulled him up.
Yeah,
Um,
he's part of a
like
group which is like the Justice League apparently.
well, they have the Squadron Sinister,
Yeah,
Squadron
that's
Supreme,
Squadron Supreme. That's the one.
Thunderbolts,
That's the one.
Avengers, Squadron Supreme. Yeah.
Yeah, Squadron Supreme is the one I'm thinking of. So basically, yeah, the Squadron Supreme are basically if you Google an image of the Squadron Supreme, it's basically the Justice League. Andre in the
Yeah,
chat,
essentially.
welcome in, brother. He says he should be a version of Tony Stark. I kind of like that. A beefed up Tony. There was like before we got the Reed Richards announcement, I would have actually liked to see him as Reed. And this was a conversation I saw online a while ago, and people were kind of for and against it, thinking like, "Oh no, he's too jacked, he's too jacked." And then people were like putting up pictures of him in the comics and like Reed is like huge, and I'm just like, "That's fucking
Oh,
Henry
yeah.
Cavill." I was like, "That's perfect." So
Original Reed was actually like he was from the war.
yeah, so
He
like he
went to
was like
war.
beefed up. So like I see it and I would love it, but you see, like I'm a big Henry Cavill fan. Everybody knows this, but I would love to see him actually get his due. Like, you know what I mean? Like, give him a good role. Let him be like, the next Wolverine is kind of out there. Like, maybe he'll be the MCU's version of Wolverine. You know, which
Yeah,
would be
possibly.
pretty fucking wild. I'd love it. Could you imagine like he was actually even in Deadpool 3? Holy crap! Like as like the MCU version, like that'd be pretty sick. Like we just get an announcement and then boom, he's in a movie straight away.
Well, that would be pretty fun. But if he's like, I would say if Michael Fassbender's not coming back, he could be Magneto.
I'd
I
like
would.
that as well. That was one of my picks too, Magneto. Because like as I said, Doom taken, but I would kind of like to see him as a villain because I think that'd be really cool. And Magneto would be a really cool place for him to land because I
Well, and
don't
even
think
then, like
Fassbender's
you could,
coming into the MCU.
right, and even then, you could also place him back in like the good graces of like the good people. Because eventually, like you have the Brotherhood and whatnot, but like if Professor Charles, like if he dies for any reason, Magneto could take over. That's been an arc in the comics before where Magneto kind of takes over for the X-Men because Professor X is gone.
Yeah,
Um, which is like that's a strong thing to have, especially for a villain to take over the lead role. I think that would work really well. I think Henry Cavill can totally play that role like no problem.
yeah.
It's just it's like what will the writers do though to kind of like put that in place if they were to actually make him Magneto? Like, will they give him enough screen time to truly become the Magneto that we want, or are they just going to kind of put him on the side and just have him be a face?
I really think that Henry is a nerd. Henry's just like us. Like if we had Henry sitting here right now, he'd fit in perfectly. We'd be having an amazing conversation. He is one of us, like guaranteed. Like he games for 4 hours a day. He's a big fucking nerd. I genuinely think if he was to be given the right role, I think he'd sink his teeth in. Like I think he wanted to be in The Witcher for as long as it would go. Creative differences is what got him out. We obviously all know that he loves being Superman. He's always said it. That the costume was hanging up in his closet. He was just waiting for the call to come, and DC fucked him over. But that's nowhere near, like in no way his fault. I really think if the MCU came along and it's like let's sign you up for X role, whatever it is. Like even if it is an X-Men or whatever, like one of the X-Men or a mutant. The mutants are going to be around for a long fucking time. They haven't even made their appearance in the MCU yet, and let's safe to say, whenever that first X-Men movie drops, you're probably going to be still seeing X-Men characters from that movie in the MCU 10 years after that movie comes out. So whether that movie's out in 2027, you really could potentially still see that person on the big screen in 2037, which is a terrifying date to think about, Jesus. But like honestly, like that's how far it'll go, because I think they'll do another big saga build up to another big massive event. Um After Secret Wars, and they just kind of restart it all over again. Here we go again. So
It-
I
yeah,
think Henry would hang around.
yeah, of course. And I really, but what I see from all this, from all that we've been talking about so far, is the fact that they're constantly trying to create the same roller coaster that they created with the Infinity War saga, which was build up to the big bad, and then like bring it all down with Endgame and whatnot, and then kind
Mhm.
of like rebuild it again. But I mean, who's to say that we can't just not do that for a decade or two, and then just create all these different characters from the entire Marvel universe,
I'd
and
be
then
down.
eventually like just create just like really solidly create all these different stories that we've seen so far in the comics, and just have them kind of collaborate here and there, just have like little things here and there, never really having like the big bad that you have to bring everybody in at the
Mhm.
moment, because that costs a lot, dude. And I think that's what they're trying to do. That's what they're worried about. It's like, how are we going to get the next big bad going? How are we going to get everybody going? It's like, no, dude, like you have so many different stories you could talk about. You could have Peter go up against villains on his own. You could have you could have Iron Man and Peter, team up. Like you could do just duos, you could do trios, you could do like small squads in the sense. Like you don't have to do like 10 to 20 people fighting one like big bad. And
Yeah,
that's one of the things that I'm kind of worried about is like how often are they going to keep trying to do this without realizing like, oh shit, we really should just tell stories.
absolutely.
It's reached that point where I'm like, I'm kind of tired of them, trying to get to that big bad again. Because we've seen it already. So like, give us some time.
Yeah, and this is kind of going into a topic that I want to talk about after this, but I'll just kind of keep that in mind. But what I'm going to say is like, I would love to see, and maybe they need to wait for the next MCU to come along to do this properly, but I would love to see like street level shit for like 10 years. And
Yeah,
then, or 5 years, 6 years, whatever, and then they go into like some space stuff, kind of like what they did at the start. We didn't really go into space. I know we did in Thor technically, but it was kind of magical. Whereas like, we had our first movie then like in 2014, which was like 6 years after the MCU started, when they actually did Guardians of the Galaxy and they were properly in space. Do something like that again. Start it off, have like Spider-Man, Daredevil, Punisher, all these like street level dudes, and then you know start going galactic after that. But I don't know. I don't think they plan to do this anytime soon, because I've heard that like um the first villain for the Fantastic Four is going to be Galactus. Like, so they're going to do Galactus. They're going to do Silver Surfer kind of straight away. So it's going to go to the moon straight away. Like, so I don't know. I don't know, dude.
right. I think I like where you're going with Finto. I think the idea of galactic kind of like, things or any sort of like issues on the galactic scale. Um, the way I see it from your perspective is that you're thinking that we need to go into space to get like our big bad, but that's not the case. Like I really think that it's more so like you can tell stories from the ground, you can tell stories from space, but space is still grounded in their worlds. You could
Yeah.
still have those kind of stories. You don't have to pick out like the biggest, baddest motherfucker and then just like throw him in between everybody else. I think that when we talk about space and everything that's like on the outside of Earth, it becomes a little bit convoluted, even intricate, like to a big complexity to the point where it's like, well, we have to fight somebody huge, right? But no,
Yeah.
like
Kingpin.
when it
I
came
think
to Guardians of the
Kingpin should be the next big
Galaxy,
bad.
Kingpin. Well, we've had a lot of Kingpin already, so I'm kind of out of it. I think
I don't know, bro. I think Vincent D'Onofrio's so good. Like, I think him on an MCU scale, like on the big screen, I think would be absolutely, like, it would actually be refreshing. I think it would be great.
yeah,
Go on,
but at the
sorry.
same time, I'm thinking that this is small talk. Like I really think that they're just trying to run the budget as low as possible and
Mhm.
only deal with human interactions. And this is one of the biggest things that I'm like have a big pet peeve about is that everybody that everything that you've seen so far in movies, the reason why it hasn't really gone that far into scale in terms of like combat, in terms of story, in terms of like actual like organic feeling to like each of your characters that you're so beloved with
Yeah.
is because it's always humans. And I'm tired of that. Like, dude, like there's mutants, which are still humans, but they have mutated powers. Like it's just it's so still on the nose. Like we have characters that are goofy looking. We have characters that are, downright badass looking, but they don't necessarily have the best, you know, look about them because of the fact that they're human. They were transformed. The lizard was transformed. That like I really liked Spider-Man, the Amazing Spider-Man 1 because they had the lizard. That was a fun experience, even though like I didn't really like his face too much. But I love
Mhm.
that because like they actually had a transformed person, not too much into the human aspect of it. He was literally trying to turn everybody else into lizards. Like how often
Yeah.
do you get a villain that tries to do that? And like in the longest time, I have not seen a villain that's actually not been, just a human in
Yeah.
such a long time, and it's so draining, dude. It's so
Yeah.
fucking draining. Like Modoc would have been so cool, even as goofy as you say it, as weird as it seems. MODOK would have been sick because MODOK is not really like he's a computer essentially. He's just an advanced like sentient computer that just has been driven mad.
Mm, yeah.
It's just like it's so fucking cool. Like you have Red Skull, which is, you know, it's still a human, but it's just a different face about him. And you can't really like he had his fucking mask off the whole time. Like I love that. Hugo Weaving like literally kept the Red Skull like outfit on.
Mhm.
Didn't really like took it off early and was just Red Skull throughout the entire time. And I thought that was so fucking cool.
Yeah,
Like
that was needed.
nobody ever it's just this it's this feeling of like, oh, they have to take their mask off. Oh, they have to take their mask off. It's like, no, dude, leave it on. The mask stays on in bed. Like,
Yeah,
give me
yeah.
that, give me that rock hard mask on situation. Just
Yeah.
saying, man.
No, you're right. You're right. You're right. It's I think a lot of it is to do with like kind of star power and stuff as well. Like I think, you get someone big in the MCU playing a role, and it's like, Robert Downey Jr., for example, it's like they want him out of the suit as almost more than he's in the suit, you know? And same with like Cap as well. Like they kind of took the shield, they took the helmet off Cap. Did you notice that? Like
Yeah.
for years nearly, like after Winter Soldier, like pretty much for most of like Civil War and Infinity War and stuff, like he didn't even have a helmet on. You know what I mean? So like I don't know. I understand what you're saying, like, and it's like we've had this conversation about Spider-Man 100 times, like, just keep the fucking mask on. I know they want to show off Tom Holland as much as possible and all this stuff, but it's like, you could do an hour and a half of sequences with him just in the suit and it'd be perfect. There would be like, I'm not looking for him to take the mask off.
Yeah, but it's not even that, man. Like it's just like let him be Peter when he needs to be Peter. I don't need
Yeah,
him to be Peter when he's Spider-Man.
true.
Like that isn't that the whole isn't that the whole idea, dude? Like, is that when he's Spider-Man, anybody of any of us could envision themselves as Spider-Man because they don't see the actual face of the person that's like the
Yeah,
costume hero. Like that's the
yeah,
fun part of it is just being like, man, I really want to be Spider-Man. Like that's why you don't see imagination that often anymore, like with the kids. I mean, they're being held inside a lot because parents are kind of afraid to let them go out nowadays because it's kind of scary. But like
yeah,
it's it was cool. Like I remember back then, like my cousins and I, like we would play Power Rangers and we pick each Power Ranger to like it didn't matter.
yeah.
Like you just picked one.
Absolutely. Your favorite color, it didn't matter who was under it.
No, I was always
you
a Blue
know,
Ranger though.
I like that green.
Ah, Green
Was
Ranger was so cool.
Tommy? He was badass.
Yeah. So cool.
Yeah, yeah. We used to get the toys for Christmas and stuff, and we had like the thing that they'd hold up when like you did the morphin. It's morphin time. You had
Yeah.
the coin in the middle, and I used to have that thing. And you'd click the side, it'd be like, it'd go off and
That's
off.
sick.
Oh, it used to be so cool, dude. I used to love it. I remember one year, like I got that for Christmas one year, thinking it was the best thing ever. And I ran up the street to like my friend's house, and he again at the time we were both like obsessed with Power Rangers. And I was like, "Oh, look what I got for Christmas and stuff!" And then he like whipped out the White Ranger sword, and I was like, "Oh my god, you
Oh
bastard!" I was like,
god,
"You
that's
beat me!" Like
sick.
I was like, "That was like, even better." I was like, "Fuck!" He kind of ruined my day. I was like, "No." It was still cool though. I wish I still had the thing. I'd love to see it now, like and light it up and stuff. Because it used to
Just
like
have it
flip
up on
open and like
display.
I
Yeah, I love
yeah,
that.
I throw it up on the shelf behind me. Absolutely. Um, so funny. Yeah, kind of just to wrap back in because we are kind of going off track a little bit. Andre in the chat says so again. Doom is like I'd love to see Cavill as Doom. I think he'd be cool as a villain. He said like if anyone should play it, it should be Cillian Murphy. Obviously, I would love to see Cillian Murphy play it. Like he's this year is the year of Cillian Murphy. Like Americans have learned to pronounce the word Cillian. It's great. Like we don't have to listen to people mispronounce his name anymore because he's that famous now. But um, yeah, like it's he's about to win the Oscar for best actor. Like it's coming. Like he's won every other award. Like it's just been lined up for him. Um, I don't know if that gets him to the MCU or gets him further away from the MCU. I really don't know. He's going to be getting every single movie offer in Hollywood right now. I'm sure is going across his desk. Like everyone's going to try and scoop him up because he's just turned into a megastar. But I know he does not accept a role without reading a script, and I don't know if they have any scripts with Doom in it yet. So maybe it's just not even a possibility for him right now because he's very old school, and he wouldn't accept a role on word of mouth. He'd have to read a script first. And to be
Right.
honest, I think with the way things are going right now, I think more people should probably take a page out of his book because there's people accepting roles and the movies turn out to be absolute shit, and
Oh yeah.
they're probably told a pipe dream at the beginning, and then it goes a different way. I'm thinking of Dakota Johnson here with Madam Web, for example. Although I did hear that
100%.
after she accepted the role, they made like massive changes to the script. And like I feel very bad for her, but like I genuinely think that she could potentially have like a legal ground against Sony for that, like because like that's hiring somebody on a false pretense, like call it what you want, like, but it seems like false advertising or whatever you want to say, like like it seems like you're signed up to do one thing and then they just completely change the thing. And I think the rumor out there is that they had in the original script that she signed up for, they had obviously maybe one of the big three Spider-Man in that movie, probably like Andrew or Toby. And then, she signed on, oh yeah, I'll be in a movie with Tobey Maguire, that'd be amazing. And then they changed it all. And then, she was told she's never allowed to talk about it as well. So feel very sorry for her.
What they did was atrocious, man. Like they
Yeah.
took instead of making it so that Madam Web actually dealt with maybe one of the Spider-Man women and actually like maybe trained her or helped her or like did something to give her the sense of justice so that she could fight up against Ezekiel Sims, it just turned into a fucking cat and mouse chase, like all throughout the entire time with three potential heroes, which is like the most like fucked up thing you could do. Now those three Spider Women can never show up on screen, like because they were done to shit.
Yeah,
they're gonna have to wait a decade. They're gonna have to wait a decade. They said in 10 years. They're literally gonna have to wait a decade for this now.
I think you could throw like Sydney Sweeney into maybe, and people wouldn't mind.
Nope. Nope, she was fucking horrible in that movie. Dakota Johnson was fucking horrible. As much as you say that she could sue for it, I think they can counter sue. Her acting was shit, dude. Like, yes, you should be sorry for what you did. It's like, what? Like, what kind of line is that?
Stop. I gotta move on. I can't even talk about. I can't give this movie any more airtime than it's already gotten. Just drives me crazy, bro. Andre the chat, Keanu for Ghost Rider.
No.
Yes, 1,000 times yes. I would love it. Love it. I don't want Norman Regis. No, fuck him.
I want Nicolas Cage to come back.
Well, of course. Like I'd love Nicolas back, but I think if they're gonna do like an MCU and a recast, someone like Keanu could be really cool. I'd like to see him pop up in the MCU somewhere. It'd be really nice to see him. Like,
I think he could play an older gentleman. Like he's kind of aged up quite a bit. I think Nicolas Cage would still fit for Ghost Rider, but we got to pick someone much older for Keanu. I think he'd be like that kind of like very heroic but like stern look, kind of like because we've seen him in John Wick, and like I kind of want to base it off of that now and make it something similar.
John Wick movie?
No.
Yeah, watch the latest John Wick movie and come back to me.
Are you upset about it?
It's terrible. It's really fucking bad. I nearly turned it off. It's terrible. And as much as I love Keanu, he's getting old, bro, as you said. And you see it clear as day in this movie. Like he's trying to do the rolling around and he's trying to do the jiu-jitsu and the floor game and the judo and all this stuff. And you can see that it's tough for him to do it. Now, I respect him because he did do it. He did a lot of the stunts. But at the same time, it's like, bro's getting old and it's looking slow. Like the choreography was looking really slow. And I don't know, just me personally, like I think the third one was a bit fucking stretched. Like I think if you had never made another one and just did John Wick 1, it'd go down as like a legendary movie. Like, but I think the fact that they just kept it going and going and going, it just kind of ruined it in its entirety. Now the first movie is still fantastic. And I think even the second movie makes sense because it's literally a continuation. It's the same night. You know what I mean? It's a literal continuation of the story. So the second one I'm fine with, but even by the time it gets to the third one, you're kind of just like, oh, what is going on? Like, like
you're already tired.
Yeah, I'm shattered at this stage. Like, I'm like, come on. Like the third one where he's meeting up with Halle Berry and all. I'm just like, oh come on, man. It's no, it's not good. Third one in my opinion shouldn't have even been made. But if they did go ahead and get greenlit, that should have been the end of it. The fact that there was
Okay.
a fourth one and now there's a spin-off show, like a prequel. Haven't even watched it yet. It's a Prime show.
Yeah.
Um,
So
I don't
real
know.
quick, I wanted to roll back to Halle Berry. When's the last movie you've seen with Halle Berry that was actually good? Because now that I think about it, like Die Another Day, it wasn't that great. Like I think it really did
Um,
terrible.
she's good in yeah, I don't know. Like she's good. She was good in obviously the X-Men movies, and I like her in Swordfish. And what
Yeah,
else?
but those are older roles, right?
Oh
Like have
yeah,
you
like
really seen her in anything that's like
to
been
be honest, I don't even think she like as crazy as this sounds. I don't think she really acts that much, or maybe I'm just completely missing her.
it
Um,
almost feels like after Catwoman, her career got like shat on.
well, man, this just like I've got IMDb open up right now as we're talking, and I just typed in Halle, and she comes up Halle Berry, and it's like actress Catwoman 2004. So this
That
is
role ruined her.
yeah, I didn't even see that movie, and it got a three. It's sitting on a 3.4. It's probably one of the lowest rated movies of all time. So she was in that Moonfall movie. It came out like 2 years ago, and there was the dude from Game of Thrones. If you were always kind of slagging Hoffman because he looks just like Hoffman. If you watch the trailer for that movie, it looks like Hoffman was in the film. So John Wick 3. Oh, she was in Kingsman Gold Circle. That was a good movie, I think, and she was good in it as well. Days of Future Past. Again, it's her being Storm.
Right.
Um, I haven't seen any of these other movies she's in, but they're not scoring well. Like 5.1, 5.9, 6.5. 4.3, Jesus, 4.3
See,
again, 5.6. Like, to be fair, I don't know if this is just, I don't know if it's her acting capabilities or if it's just like the stuff that she gets offered. Like, there's good actors
right,
that
yeah.
appear in shit, and it's not their fault that it's shit, and they can only deal with what they've got. You know what I mean? A shit script, a shit director. There's only so much that an actor can do. They have to be directed. They have to be shown the way. And I think there are good actors out there that just can't get good movies, and they have to kind of act in shit. So I don't. Maybe she's one of them. I don't really know.
Yeah, well, like she's like it's hard because like she win an Oscar? Like she won an Oscar beforehand, before she got Catwoman, which is amazing to think about. Like it's
Again, it can happen, man. Do you know what I mean? Doesn't Brie Larson have a fucking Oscar? You know what I mean?
I
Like it can
hope not.
happen.
I
I'm
don't
pretty
think
sure I think she does. I think she got an Oscar for that movie Room, the Room that she was in. Again, great movie. She was fantastic in it. But again, it's like this is down to what I'm saying again. Like, it's like sometimes people like actors just don't get sometimes they get that kind of dream combo, good script, good director, and they're directed in a great way to put out their best ever performance and it works. But, a lot of the time then it just doesn't click. It's kind of
mm,
like a look at the draw sort of thing. It's nearly a miracle to get all three, like good script, good director, good actor, and they all work in unison together and put out something perfect.
right. It's just it just seems so hard to me, dude, that like when you have source material and like the writers, directors, producers, they completely ignore it. It
Yeah,
just like you could see how much we give a shit about like like the roles that each of these characters play because of the way that we've seen them on paper and in
yeah,
animation. And it's so important to like just play those roles the way that they should be played, even if
mhm.
it's not to a T. If you can do it as close as possible, that makes it great. But if the script is shit, it's so hard. Like Tatiana Maslany, like she shouldn't have had such a bad run, but
Yeah,
because of the way that they wrote the story, it just ran everything down. Like, it just felt like it wasn't like she did it. I felt like she was a great actress during that entire run. It's just they didn't utilize her.
hmm
They just kept portraying her as the woe is me kind of character and didn't really like portray her as somewhat of a badass and someone to
there's a
be respected.
there's a video going around TikTok right now. I don't know if you've seen it. If you haven't, I'll send it to you. But it's kind of like someone clipped together all of the kind of directors and writers of Phase Four talking in interviews, and like they clipped out every single one of them going, "We didn't follow the source material. We didn't
Yes.
we didn't read the comics." And then like the dude, like I think the guy who directed or writ Shang-Chi was kind of like, we were told not to talk to anybody else. We weren't allowed to talk to anybody else in Marvel. It's like completely going against the source material. the fucking comic books, like everything, and then like not talking to other people just destroys the connected universe. You know what I mean? And then it's like we were told like don't read the comics. We were told don't do this, don't do that. It's like this is exactly what went wrong, or it has been going wrong and still going wrong for the last couple of years. And it's like it's right there, playing in sight. Like it's so frustrating, man. Like we talk about this all the time, but it's like I genuinely do believe that if the two of us were given an opportunity to sit down and write Spider-Man 4, I think we could write a better movie than what's going to come out. Like
Oh yeah.
genuinely, I truly believe that. And like I don't even think it's down to it would have to be unlimited budget and all this sort of stuff. I think if they like gave us like real parameters, like I think the two of us could sit down and genuinely come out with a movie that a lot of people would enjoy.
Of
Like
course.
that's how easy it is if you know the material, if you're a fan. And they hire people who just have no fucking either interest in the source material or no knowledge of the past. Like there's people coming into Star Wars that haven't seen the fucking movies. There was six of them before, the sequels. Six movies, you do it in a weekend. Like, you know what I mean? Let's say if you're hired, like again, I don't know why I think about stuff like this, but like if I was hired to do a job like for a movie studio, like I don't know how this popped into my head, but I was thinking like I was in the theaters today and I saw a poster for another like Godzilla versus Kong movie, right? And I'm like, how many of these fucking things are there? Because like I thought the -1 movie was the new one, and there's another one coming out. I'm like, I'm lost here. I don't know what's going on. But I was thinking like, imagine I got hired to be in one of these movies or something. I'd be like, okay, I have to go back and watch all the movies, but that wouldn't take that long to do. I could do it in a
Yeah.
week. Like it'd be
Yeah.
easy, right? But like, there's people that are getting hired to join a movie universe like Star Wars, like Marvel, like DC, whatever, and they're not even like doing their homework, bro. It's like, and these people are getting paid hundreds of thousands of dollars. It is absolutely mind-boggling to me that like you're not going to sit down with the entire fucking cinematic universe if you're joining Marvel and watch it from start to finish. Watch it 10 times. You know what I mean? Get to know every single character. Get to know the history of what you're adding on to. It's your fucking obligation, in my opinion. Like, it's criminal, man. It really is.
Yeah.
It's criminal. And like, we're gonna look back at it. I say this all the time, but like, I have a very young child, and she's gonna in 10 years' time, she's gonna sit down with me and go, "Can we watch the MCU?" I can't fucking wait. But we're
Can
gonna
we
have. I'm
watch
gonna
the
have.
Spider Women?
Yeah, yeah. Well, I wouldn't mind that if it was good, but you know what I mean. I'm like, well, my girlfriend will 100% be showing her Wonder Woman as soon as possible. But
Oh, that'd be
like,
sick.
yeah, because like yeah, of course, amazing. But it's like I'm gonna have to sit down and rewatch these movies for the first time with my kids, and I'm gonna have to turn around. So at one point around like towards the end of phase 4, start of phase 5, like I can just picture my kids turning to me now, like, "Dad, why are these movies so bad?" I'm just gonna be like, "Well, like this is the way it went, you know. They hired people who were lazy, who didn't care about the source material, blah blah blah, and now we have to pay for it." Like, it's just it's criminal, man,
Well, and
criminal.
when you think about it too, like phase 1, 2, and 3, they took from the source material, but they didn't take all of it. But they still cared enough about it to kind of bring it all together. And I
Yeah,
think that's what mattered most was the fact that they were working towards the ultimate, the end game, essentially.
yeah.
And it worked. So like, I don't understand
There was a singular
why.
goal in the
Yeah,
first saga, whereas now there isn't even any connective tissue in the multiverse saga, as they call it. It's like there's no connective
it,
tissue right now. It's fucking
it,
all over the place.
it, and it's, but to be honest, it's fine if it's all over the place. It's just you need to write a good story. Like I just
Yeah,
like all we want is a good story. Like
facts.
when we saw Werewolf by Night, like that was fun. That was actually pretty damn fun. Like it was fun to just have this like random ass story that popped up showing Werewolf by Night, showing Man Thing, showing like all these different characters and ultimately reaching at the end where nothing it doesn't go any further than that.
Yeah,
It's not really connecting to anything in particular. It was just a fun like I brought you all here to hunt down this monster.
hmm,
And it worked. I
yeah,
thought it worked really well. When they did Moon Knight, and I know that like, not very many people were too savvy about it because it didn't really end on a perfect note, but like it still had a good story to it. Like it showed us the villain from the very beginning, gave us an idea of what kind of person they were, and also gave us like, you know, the characters like Mark Spencer and um, the Scarlet Scarab and Moon Knight, and just kind of like putting that out, but but I felt like they were so afraid to, really flesh out that character's combat and flesh out the character's like ability to be gruesome.
Mm.
And it weighed it down heavily because they were like, oh, this third personality, this third Jake, was it Jake Likely or Jake something?
Hmm.
Can't remember the last name, but like it literally like destroyed everything that they were working towards because of the fact that they were not able to bring out the most badass part about Moon Knight, which is the fact that he's brutal.
Yeah.
Because they wanted to mask it behind a blackout scene, which then brings back the characters and they're all on the ground. I don't see any blood whatsoever because this is Disney Plus and they want the kids to be able to see this kind of stuff. If you want that kind of stuff, make an animated show. They're already doing that. They're doing X-Men 97. It's
Hmm.
probably not going to be bloody, and I'm perfectly fine with that because when we saw X-Men like in the animated series back then, it's just I don't recall any blood. I just recall that
Yeah.
they were fighting a lot and that they had like these conflicts and that they resolved them and then on to the next episode. You know what I mean?
Man, I watched the first Blade movie when I was like 10 years old. Like, didn't give a shit about the blood. Like, come on.
Right.
Like, you know what I mean?
It was
And I
cool.
think, yeah, and I think like with the way like today is going, just with desensitization of everything in media and all. I think kids even now like are watching like The Walking Dead when they're fucking 8 years old and not even blinking, like batting an eye to the fact that like zombies are getting their heads crushed in and everything like that, and it's gruesome. So
Mhm.
I think blood showing up somewhere, yeah, who cares? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I wouldn't not let my kid watch um like Daredevil or something. Like I'd be like, look, this is gonna get real. I'd let them know, like, this is gonna get real every now and again. We're gonna see some people like getting some big fights, and we might see some people getting stabbed and stuff like that. Like, but it's fake. It's all pretend.
Yeah.
So
It's one of those things where it's like Punisher and Daredevil are for the later years. You
yeah,
know,
of
you
course,
watch when you want the kids to watch something, you give them Spider-Man because
of course.
that's how you do it. You grow up with Spider-Man.
Hmm.
You grow up with the Avengers. It's
Yeah,
so easy.
and it just naturally progresses into the darker stuff. I think, to be honest, like I think if they did Moon Knight again, which they should, I wasn't a massive fan of the show, but I think I want to see him again. Like let him pop up in something else. That'd be great. I'd love to see him pop up in the Punisher or pop up, in a Midnight Sun show or something like that. Like like bring him back, of course. And I think if he does come back again with where like Echo's gone and where Daredevil's going to go and Punisher being back, I think the next time we see him, he is way more gruesome, and I think it works better. Because he is kind of the Batman of the MCU. So like have him breaking skulls.
In my opinion,
Absolutely.
he's a cooler Batman because he's got multiple personality disorder.
Yeah,
It's
it's
just
it's
fucking
interesting. It's different.
yeah.
It's
And it's
different.
just this internal like struggle that he has between
Yeah.
the Moon God and
Yeah.
like and it's not even so much that I don't like the only team up I really would love to see him to do is maybe between him and Blade because of the
Hmm.
fact that he
That'd be
creates the
cool.
mid because Moon Knight creates the Midnight Mission and his secretary is a vampire.
Yeah. Love it.
Um and
Oh,
it's
like
just
remember we
this
read those comics?
it was
And
so
like
like we haven't
I'd
finished
never
them yet.
I know I read that first comic. I'd never read a Moon Knight comic before, and I'd seen the show, and I read the first comic, and it's like full of vampires. I was like, "What the hell?" I was like, "This is epic,"
Right.
and
It's fucking
then
cool.
I was like, "The show's so shit."
But
But
it,
now,
like that
obviously, with they bring Blade in, you introduce vampires. It's always the way. Like the first time vampires get introduced, then they're everywhere. You know what I mean? It's like a
yeah,
plague. So now I
exactly.
suppose they need more than one hero to start taking out vamps. So that would make sense to bring Moon Knight back in. Then, yeah, I love it.
Yeah. Well,
Do it.
and like you remember the scene where like he pops in through the window and he's like, "Just so you know, if you think you're just going to be captured, I'm not Spider-Man here." And he's like,
Yeah,
starts fucking wrecking face.
yeah, yeah. Sick, dude. Sick. Speaking of Spider-Man, I'm gonna move on just a little bit, just to kind of revitalize this because we're kind of going off topic here. Um, Spider-Man 4. There's been like a bit of news about it. Apparently, like Sony and the MCU, Marvel Studios, are kind of beefing about Spider-Man 4 a little bit. I don't know if you heard any of this news.
Oh,
So basically, Sony have a kind of plan what they want to do for Spider-Man. They want to try and bring it out next year in 25. They want it to be kind of a big like kind of multiverse movie. They want to bring Toby back. They want to bring Andrew back. Whereas the MCU would kind of prefer for Spidey to get his feet back on the ground, go street level, slowly kind of maybe try and introduce Kingpin, that sort of thing, have him maybe share the big screen with Daredevil a little bit, like, and then they want to try and push it back to 2026 because 25 is actually really packed for the MCU schedule next year. What do you think? Like, would you like, which way would you like for it to go? I think I know your answer already anyway. We've kind of talked about it already, but like, would you like to see like Andrew Garfield and Tobey Maguire back and they do a big kind of multiversal movie, which then kind of ties into Avengers 5? Or would you like for maybe, Tom Holland's character to go back down onto the ground, get introduced to Kingpin, try and be the friendly neighborhood Spider-Man, and then maybe shit kicks off in a couple of years then with the Avengers and he has to get caught back up to the big leagues? Honestly, like, when I say it out loud, I love the idea of both movies. Like, to be honest, like I would love a big like kind of multiversal movie that's kind of just of like, Kang Dynasty 0.5, like, like the big build up and this movie ends on a big cliffhanger and then we go into Avengers 5. Like, that sounds fun. But then at the same time, I love the idea of him being on the street, like getting him to kind of start off his origin story. Like, he's just become Peter Parker. He's just started working at the Bugle, taking pictures, and he needs the help of Daredevil to deal with the Kingpin or some shit. Like, I love it all. But what do you think? Where would you like it to go? Do you think Sony should win? Like, do you think Sony's in the right, or do you think like the MCU are in the right with where they want to go with it?
I mean, when you say about like getting back to the ground, like that's kind of what we saw at the end of, No Way Home, is the fact that everyone's mind is erased about Peter Parker being Spider-Man.
Yeah,
And so they should really play on that while we're still kind of fresh in the mind. Like
yeah,
I really think that they should continue with that, because I mean, if they're not going to, then they're creating even more of like a conflict between some of the Spider-Man that we've already seen in the past. Like
mm,
I love Andrew Garfield. Um, I think that, like, should he get another movie? Probably. Should it be now? Probably not. I think that Tom Holland should still be pushed forward as the main Spider-Man until it's time to really say like goodbye.
mm,
Because again, we've only scratched the surface. I know we did 3 movies, but the fact that we've actually created like the third movie created the origin story, the proper origin story with Aunt
yeah,
May, is such a huge blow to the community in terms of like, holy shit, we thought this whole time that he had his origin story already,
yeah,
when in fact these 3 movies set up for that. And so
yeah,
now it's time for him to start his career as Spider-Man and Peter Parker and struggle to survive as those 2 characters,
yeah,
which I desperately want to see, because now he's at an age where he's much older. He's going to be at MIT. He's going to be like very intelligent, very smart. Um, I don't think he has Stark Tech available at all at the moment. I believe that like a lot of it's still kind of like being held back for him. And
yeah.
that's
I
the
don't
thing,
think.
is Happy doesn't know that Peter's Spider-Man.
Mhm.
So like he has no connection to Tony Stark.
He's
He
literally
has no
alone.
connect. He's literally alone,
Yeah,
and he's given the ability to kind of refresh his status amongst the people that he used to know, and just kind of like redo everything. And I
yeah,
think that's so fucking powerful. So to make an entire movie about him going to MIT and also dealing with the struggles of like being a superhero is the truest form of Spider-Man,
yeah.
because you because
It'd
he's
be a
like,
good start to a second trilogy.
yeah,
I think.
like
Yeah,
with Tom Holland, like I would love that
yeah,
wholeheartedly, and then give him a much more like rugged outlook on things, because now he's at a point where it's like, I am literally alone. Like, and that's the whole point of Spider-Man. Is like he always feels so alone in
mhm,
his endeavors, because he feels like he's always got the weight of the world on his shoulders, because he can't identify himself as Spider-Man, being Peter Parker, because it could harm the ones that he loves. And he's seen that firsthand at the end of the third movie. And
yeah,
it's so powerful. And so to see that, and then to have him like go up against Scorpion, to go up against Chameleon, to go up against Rhino, Doc Ock, like that version of Green Goblin in that universe, like or you know, a different MODOK and or Kingpin or like any sort of characters, like even Hydra. I would love for it to Hydra to show up and then Cap fucking pumps in and it's like we got to take down these Hydra scum. Like how fucking cool would that be? Employing the use of Spider-Man, but
Yeah.
he still has to go to MIT. It's like fuck, I'm gonna be late for this test that I'm gonna take.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know, man. Like I'm kind of in the middle of it myself. Like, you know, I do love both scenarios. I kind of think like maybe it would be nice to kind of let him have his movie on the ground and maybe not include the other Spider-Man straight away. But I do kind of like the idea of it, Peter thinking that everything's gone back to normal, and then boom, we just kind of kick it off into full gear again. Like, and then you know, one of the Spider-Man come to him through the multiverse or whatever, like, hey, you know, Spider-1, I need your help here. Like, you know, I think that'd be pretty cool. And then he just kind of gets thrown straight back into the deep end. Like, I'd love
Well,
it.
and
I would love it.
the fucked up thing is that Madam Web should have been able to set
Yo,
that up.
look, if they did it right, they could have done it that way. That's for
He
sure.
would have been set up.
But Sony's gonna Sony for sure. Look, I think,
Yeah.
you know, realistically, if they could give back Spider-Man to Marvel Studios and just let Marvel go ahead with it, Marvel would do it better than they could, like guaranteed.
Right.
You know, like they've got like the symbiotes in the MCU now, technically. Like they got to do something with that. They've got to do. I think it's been kind of known for a while that like you know Tom Holland was going to do another trilogy and then the Avengers movies as well. So he's like technically got 5 more appearances. So it's like there's a lot left to do, and like if these movies keep going the way they're going, it's taking them so long now to make these movies that like it's like you know I think Tom Holland is like maybe 31 or something at the moment. Like, you know what I mean? Like, he's going to be in his 40s, like, you know, at the end of this next trilogy. Like, you know, like that's kind of ridiculous. So, unless they do time jumps or something like that, I don't know exactly know how they're going to do it. But, um, yeah, like, man, everyone's getting older. Like, I know you talk about, like, you'd love to see Andrew again, but, like, not for a while. It's like, you know, the dude's in his 40s, like, you know, and I know, like, is Toby in his 50s? Toby's like in his late 40s, early 50s, I think. You know what I mean? Like it's like if can he wait 10 more years? Probably not. You know what I mean? Like they gotta kind of get the let out. And that's kind of my other argument. Like the other kind of side to it is like, you know, Sony want to bring something out next year. Like they haven't even started shooting anything. It's not possible. But I like the fact that they're like, you know, we need to get the shit out like ASAP because yes, they're kind of right because it does make sense because the clock is ticking. You know,
Mhm.
if you want to use these characters before you have to turn around and recast, I think you really got to start, you know, pushing these projects forward. And I know that kind of goes against a lot of the stuff that I've been saying as well, because like, you know, obviously when they started fast tracking stuff, the quality went to shit. They need to find out a way to make good movies, but make them quicker because it's taken a long time.
Mm.
Yo, quick shout out to anybody who's watching us over on Twitch. Limey's over there, Andre, Nova. What's up, everybody? Appreciate you guys. Yeah, man, I don't know. Like, it's really tough. It's a really tough one because part of me sees the benefit of them waiting a while, and then like you know, then the other side of me is like you know, the start of this year. I think in January, towards the end of January, I think they just finished filming Deadpool 3, and that's coming out in July. And you know that movie's going to be a banger. Like you know it will be. So it's like they're able to do it. They're able to turn it around and like get the movies out like from film finish to the big screen. They can do it if they put their minds to it and if it's good. You know, I think like this movie probably could have been out a couple of months earlier if it wasn't for the writer strikes because it got held up. So like, you know, we could be seeing it very soon.
Yeah,
But it is what it is.
honestly, man, when you say things are going to be a banger, I've not seen enough good good times from Marvel to really convey that same feeling. I'm very nervous about Deadpool 3 as much as Ryan Reynolds is involved, as much as, you know, Hugh Jackman is involved and other characters that we know. Um it makes me worried because I wonder how much like they might have held back. And if it's really fucking good, I still wonder to myself like how much more could they have thrown into it? But at the same time, like I still say like if it comes out good, I'll be so happy. Also hope that there's a director's cut. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that'd be cool. I was in the same boat as you until I saw the trailer. And when I saw the trailer, I was like, a big sigh of relief. I was like, oh, okay, this feels like Deadpool. You know, like I was really kind of worried that it was going to be something different, like kind of what they did with like Daredevil and She-Hulk and Daredevil and Echo. And you're kind of like, it's kind of the Netflix guy, but it's not. It feels different. You know, I kind of felt like they were going to do that, but when I saw, like, it just felt like Deadpool. You know, it just felt like Reynolds being Reynolds, and I think they'll do Jackman properly, and everything else that's coming out, all the other rumors that we've heard, even if only half of them are true, we're still in for an incredible movie. I think this movie is going to do. I put up a comment. Someone was talking about like the box office for this movie. On I think it was My Time to Shine's one of her posts, and I put up like they were like, "Oh, do you think this movie will do 1 billion?" And I wrote in the comments, I was like, "It'll do closer to 2 billion than 1 billion." And people were like, "No, no, not a chance, not a chance." I was like, "Wait and see, lads." I was like, "This is going to be a $2 billion movie, I guarantee you." Yeah, I think it's going to be the biggest thing in the MCU since Endgame. I think this movie does more money than No Way Home.
We'll see, man. Because the way like I just took a look at the Deadpool 2 trailer, and I honestly have way more hype for Deadpool 2 than I did for the
Deadpool
Deadpool
2.
3. Yes.
Wow. I gotta watch that Deadpool 2 trailer. I can't even remember.
It's
I can't even remember it.
it's so much fucking better,
Really?
in my opinion.
Wow.
Yep. No,
Okay.
like
Okay. Now
it's
this is
just
just a teaser now, to be fair. So the
with the
Deadpool,
teaser.
the Deadpool 3 is technically just a teaser. It's not like the
Oh,
official trailer.
right. You're right. So then I'll give it I'll give it some time. When they
Yeah.
actually say that there's an official trailer,
Yeah,
then I
yeah.
will give you my verdict.
To be honest, I'm still like really chuffed with it, even though it was a teaser. Even though it was like a very beefy teaser. But
I wouldn't say beefy. It's just a lot of silhouettes, a lot of people that are hiding their faces.
mm, yeah, fair
I
enough.
like we can't like I really don't want to pull the trigger on yes or no until I see a full trailer.
Yeah, fair, fair. Yeah, you are absolutely allowed for that. Um, just I had it written in my notes here. I just wanted to. Can you say the word subwoofer for me?
I don't understand what's wrong when I say subwoofer.
Subwoofer. That's fine. I don't see a problem with that either.
Like I don't understand. Like I tried. Like I thought I said it the right way the whole time, but I guess I say it like closer to it. I guess like a dog. Like woof.
Woof. Yeah.
Yeah,
Subwoofer, I would say. Subwoofer. You say
and that's
woofer.
how you're supposed to say it. But for some reason, when I say it, like I say subwoofer. Like I can't get out of it. Like it's just.
That was for Jessie. I'm glad she was here to hear it. I don't know, man. I think everyone has like things like that. Like, I used to
Oh,
get I used to get slagged a lot for some of the things I'd say when I was younger. Like, it's just everyone's got gaps. Like we all have gaps,
dude,
and everyone can't have the same knowledge.
the Pacific Northwest is fucking. It's the funniest thing. Their E's sound like A's. So
Yeah,
they're getting eggs, getting their bags.
gotcha,
They're,
gotcha.
they're, they're taking their wag and going.
Um, so we're both gamers. This is well known. We both stream on Twitch. Blah blah blah. What did you think of the Borderlands trailer? Did you watch the trailer for Borderlands?
I did.
What did you think?
I think that they created a soulless trailer that is going to ultimately be a shitstorm by the time that the film actually releases.
Yeah. So a friend of mine lives in Budapest, and he texted me like a couple of weeks ago, and he was like, "Are they making like a Borderlands TV show or a Borderlands movie or something?" And I was like, "Yeah, why?" And he's like, "They're shooting it outside my window right now." I was like, "No way!" Yeah. He's like, "I just looking down and there's like movie crews down there, and everyone's got like Borderlands on their back and all." And I'm like, "Holy shit!" I was like, "That's cool." Um, but yeah, I don't know. Like I watched the trailer, and again, like me and you played. It's one of the only times that we've ever actually gamed together. Funnily enough, but we played a bit of Borderlands. I can't remember which one we was. Was it two?
I
Borderlands
think it
two?
was 3.
Maybe three. Yeah. So we kind of did a bit of a co-op, kind of some co-op missions in Borderlands, and it was a lot of fun. Loved it. Um. So and like that was my first kind of introduction to Borderlands. Like I played all three games back to back, and like it was fun. It was a lot of fun. I kind of it doesn't really feel like it kind of looks Borderlandish, but it doesn't like really feel it. I'm not like mad on the casting. Like I know Kate Blanchett's a great actress, like really good actress. Maybe a little too good of an actress for this role. I don't know. Like it's kind of a weird casting. I don't like Kevin Hart. I'm gonna be honest, and
Man,
I just like I just don't
I'm
really care
I'm
for him at all
absolutely,
in
yeah, I'm absolutely horrified by the casting.
anything.
Horrified, dude. None of those characters fit. None of those actors fit. Like, Roland isn't even a funny character, and you gave it
Yeah,
to a comedian.
yeah. Jack Black might produce a bit of comedy in it, but
It's still
he's the
Jack Black.
robot. I know, but like he can be okay. Yeah, I don't know, man. I'll definitely watch it, of course, but um, I don't know. Yeah, I wasn't really blown away by it. Like I saw a lot of kind of hype around on Twitter the day it came out and stuff, and I was kind of like, oh, I gotta check this out, and I was kind of like, nah. Kate Blanchett looks really old in it as well. I'm like,
Yeah,
is it?
that's the problem. It's Kate
Yeah,
Blanchett. Like she doesn't really
well, she
like.
she looked great in Ragnarok, like
Yeah,
great.
they because it was probably like perfectly aligned with her role. I think this is just like, who can we pick up? I don't
Yeah,
know, Kate Blanchett. It's like that's how it felt. Like, I don't know, Kevin Hart. I don't know. Jack Black's funny. He's got a good voice.
yeah.
Let's just make him the robot. Let's make him Claptrap. Who the fuck is playing Tiny Tina?
I don't even know.
Who the fuck
'Cause
is that?
Tina's
Like,
such a great character as well. Like, and I don't know. It seems kind of tame. Like Tina's supposed to be like absolutely batshit, like insane, and like she kind of just comes across in the trailer as this little bit of a cute little jokester. Like it's like she's psychotic in the games, like absolutely psychotic. So I don't know. Maybe it'll be better when we see it, but I didn't find it really too believable.
so do you remember Ahsoka? Like, you remember the Ahsoka show, or the live action Ahsoka?
I do indeed. The younger version of her, that's her.
Yep,
Yeah, yeah.
Ariana Greenblatt.
So she's getting loads of roles at the moment because she was in the Barbie movie. She was in
She was in Infinity War.
yeah,
when
she's young Gamora.
but she's only been like, what did it cost? It's like you've only had a few lines. Don't give me this fucking role. Like, what are you
Yeah,
doing?
yeah.
Like,
No,
none of the roles that we've seen Finto that have ever said like, oh, she's funny. She's gonna be fucking hilarious.
yeah, yeah. Because even in like Ahsoka, she wasn't even in that much of it. And like while she was good as young Ahsoka, um, I don't know if she
This is a
fits
serious
that role.
role.
Yeah, it's a very serious role. And like she was in the Barbie movie, obviously as well, and she had a pretty big role in that. But
Ugh.
yeah, yeah.
She was annoying in Barbie, to be honest.
Everyone was annoying in Barbie.
No, I love Barbie, dude. You got a problem.
Yeah, I do. I do. I'm a fucking.
You're a fucking
I'm, a-
nerdy
I'm, a, I'm, a,
man.
I'm a fucking man in my 30s. Have you seen
All
that
right.
clip of Theo Von where he was asked like he's like his friends are like, you going to see Barbie? But he's like, I'm my fuck going to see Barbie. I'm like, I'm a grown ass adult man. Why would I go see Barbie?
Because you want to see different things in life, man.
No, but like when you think about it like that, it's like that movie is not made for me. Like, why would I go see it? Like,
Are you kidding me? That movie was 100% made for both men and women. Like, literally, the second half of the movie was
children,
Ken
bro.
dealing with Ken
Children.
problems.
I know, but it's like it's kind of like a
It's
teeny bopper
it's
movie. Like,
no, it's not. You're a
I know.
fucking liar.
I'm not a
I hate that you
liar.
said
Get
I
the
hate
fuck
that you
out of
said
here.
that though, dude. Like, oh, come on.
Bro, get out of here. Get out of here.
Dude, you're not enough, all right?
I am enough. I've had enough of this shit. No, look, Gosling's pretty cool, but no, the movie was ass, bro. Sorry. Just wasn't made for fucking me, like, It is what it is.
Too much
If you like it,
testosterone.
if you like it, cool. If you like it, cool.
Yeah, I gotcha. Yeah, no, I respect your opinion, man. Like, it's not
And
everybody's cup of tea.
it's not. And like honestly, like I understand anybody who doesn't even want to watch it because like it's a movie about Barbies. Like, why the fuck would we want to watch it? You know? I was just like, I want to see what the hype is because it was doing like $1 billion. I was like, I have to see what this is, like, So I took myself out of the okay, I'm a grown man, I'm gonna watch a Barbie movie. I'm like, I want to watch this film because it's like I gotta see how this thing made $1 billion.
Yeah, I can see that.
Just pure curiosity. I had to. Demon Slayer. Let's talk about the Demon Slayer movie.
Oh,
Yeah. So I went to see it today. It's very fresh in my mind. Anybody in the chat who maybe doesn't know, maybe I don't know, like it's not everybody's cup of tea. Anime is not like for me. It's not really my cup of tea either. I kind of wanted to try and dip the toe into the anime world a little bit, and I think it might have been yourself or somebody recommended Demon Slayer to me. First of all, I saw it was on Netflix over here. I was like, this one will be easy. I'll like watch a couple of episodes, and there's a dub for it as well. I'm not mad on. I don't read subtitles of shows that are in English. I'm definitely not going to read subtitles personally. I'm definitely not going to read subtitles on an animated show where when I'm watching anime, like I love looking at all the art and everything like that. And I don't want to be taken out of the experience of watching all that like amazing like art by reading subtitles. You know, like that would annoy me. I know you read you're a sub man. I know Andre's a sub man as well. So it's probably what I'm saying is doesn't make any sense to you. But for me, I'm kind of like I just want to like view it and actually be able to take in the world that's being drawn and shown to me. You know, but yeah, no, I enjoyed
Yeah.
it. I did enjoy it. I just didn't think we'd get that much of a flashback to the previous arc. Like they showed they showed like an hour of the previous arc before they went into
Yeah.
the new episodes, and it made sense because like I was sitting there watching it going like I've seen all this before, and I was like because you know the way when they kind of showed like a little kind of preview of each arc up until now, and I was like obviously sitting back loving it, going like wow, it's actually really cool to see all this shit on the big screen. Um, and then like it went into the swordsman arc, but like they started like playing it like live, and I was like, oh shit! I was like, how much of this are they going to play? And then I was like, had to go onto IMDb and just see how long the runtime of the actual movie was, because I was like, this is weird. Like it's been going on for like 20 minutes now, and then I'm like a half an hour, and I was like, I gotta check this, and then I saw it was a runtime of like an hour and 44. So I was like, you know, each episode's probably like what 20 minutes long. So I was like, okay, yeah, it makes sense if they do like the hour of swordsman and then go into Hashira. But it was cool.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it worked out really well.
I didn't know the layout of it. I think we were kind of talking about this offline before we went live, and you were kind of saying this is the norm, this is what they do. So for me, I was blind going in. I didn't know what to expect. So, but yeah, did you like it? Did you like the Hashira arc?
Dude, I love it. Like it's not like I love the episodes that we got to see. What I wanted to say was like if only you had seen the previous one where they were going to show the first two episodes or the first like episode of the Swordsman Village arc. When you see that movie, seeing that battle scene in the entertainment district arc between like Tengen and like the upper six, like that in theaters on Dolby Cinema, and I know you see it in IMAX, but I prefer Dolby Cinema. It's the rumbling sounds,
It was so
like
good,
just the 360 like sound effects and everything. I don't remember if you had a chance to go see that, but like,
I got full Dolby sound for this, and obviously IMAX as well. Like so, it was epic, bro. Like getting to watch some of the fights like from Swordsman Village, and even like getting to see like because the entertainment. Like, now that I think back on it, like I wasn't crazy on it at the time, but like the entertainment district like probably was one of the best arcs in it.
It's 100%.
Yeah, it was like because like I don't know why, but like when I was watching it, it was kind of it felt very different to me, and I was like trying to take it in and get used to the change. But then when they went on to Swordsman, like while Swordsman Village arc is good too, the Entertainment District arc was epic. It really was
top tier, dude. Dude,
yeah.
the scene, the scene of the final fight between Tengen and the upper six, like that was apparently in the manga. That was apparently like a single frame or a single panel. Like they explained what happened in the manga. Yeah. And in the show, like they're like, we're gonna show you the whole fucking thing because this is how we envision it. And I thought that was so fucking mind blowing. And you're right, like Swordsman Village arc is really good. It just didn't have that flash like they did with Tengen. Like Tengen was top tier, and like even after he had lost his arm, the other Hashira is like, we don't want you to retire, and he's like, too bad, I'm fucking retiring. And then you see the next two episodes, and for those of you who haven't seen it yet, this is a spoiler. We do see Tengen again.
Yeah,
because
really cool.
Because now that their master is he's going to end up passing away soon because he's lost all of his feeling. Like it's very hard for him to move now. He's very bedridden, and his wife, like I love his wife. His wife is so fucking like sweet, and she was so happy when he was like, "Thank you for everything." I thought that was so beautiful. Like it just like seeing that all the Hashira were like, we have to take this opportunity while the iron's hot to train these dudes to
Yeah.
see who is man enough to become as strong as one of us.
Yeah.
And I'm so excited for that because it's not only going to be exciting, but it's also going to be funny.
Yeah. Does Tanjiro have to go through the Hashira training? Like, I think he's like
Of
pretty much.
course.
I
No,
would say
no,
he is Hashira already. Like, because he's so
it's
critical to the story, and like he's like obviously bringing on again. I don't know if we should be talking about like the spoilers and stuff, but like
oh
they kind
well.
of they talk about like the mark and stuff, and obviously he's the one who's starting the mark and spreading it to the other Hashira and stuff. Like, so he's like the centerpiece already. I don't really think he needs to train, and the fact that he's killed a couple of upper ranks already, like he is Hashira. Like, facts.
Right, but if you noticed a lot of the Hashira, besides Tengen, and besides, God, I forgot the other guy, the Flame Hashira.
Mhm.
I don't know why I forgot his name, but anyways,
The
those
names are so,
two
the
are
names are so hard, bro.
it,
I
it-
knew we were going to be talking about this tonight, and as I'm watching, I'm trying to. I was like, I need to remember his name. I need to remember his name. I can't fucking remember any of their names. Like, it took me long enough to learn Tanjiro. Like,
yeah, it's Rengoku. Sorry, it's Kyojuro. Yeah,
yeah,
so like it's Rengoku and Tengen were like kind of like the base in terms
yeah,
of seeing like the might of a pillar.
mm,
And then like one dies, the other one loses their arm and retires, and then the next two in the Swordsman Village arc survive. And they could have died easily. And so
yeah,
like it's also them seeing that like they need to push themselves even further as well. And for those of you who are listening right now, with the mark, what wasn't spoken of by the wife was that like when you have the mark, you're probably I think the idea is that you're going to die
oh
or you're
dear,
going to die a horrible death. I can't
oh
remember if
dear,
it's horrible death or if it's just you're going to die at an early age. Um,
fuck, that's not good.
but but you could see the determination. They're like, we got to figure out how to get this mark.
Yeah,
Like they're willing to die for this man because it's such a big deal to get rid of Muzan. Like it's so
yeah,
fucking like they need to be rid of the world of this bullshit, and they're willing to train people up to pillar status at the same time get the mark so that they can be even stronger than they are currently. And so like this range of pillars right now are like the top. And Tanjiro hasn't reached the top yet. As much as we've seen it, he's broken his fingers, he's broken his foot. Like he's literally on like he's just hobbling every time he gets a kill.
yeah.
Whereas the others,
But he is still killing like upper
right,
ranks though.
right. But even then, you see the other pillars, like no matter what situation they're in, they never fell.
Hmm,
Like really,
true.
they never really fell.
I
They
get
were
the I get
always, yeah,
I get the impression that like this is happening to Tanjiro just because he's so young and like, he's so new to it all, but he's so powerful at the same time. Like imagine how powerful he would be without even any more like a training from them. Like he would be still so strong in like 10 years time. Like because I think he'd just naturally kind of age up to it and everything. I don't know.
right. But
I feel like he's like the chosen one. Like this is like Anakin Skywalker, like of of Demon Slayer. Like he is the one.
well, if you think about it, really, like Rengoku could have won. Rengoku would have won, but the demon ran away because daylight was coming in. He would
Mhm,
have won and died doing so. But showing that how powerful he is by almost winning up against a three,
mhm.
like, and Tengen went up against a six and lost his arm,
Yeah,
and he would
and
have died
Anna,
on his
you lose
own.
an eye as well.
He also lost an eye. Yep.
Yeah, yeah, because he's
So
wearing the
like,
bandage. Because I forgot about the arm because I don't think they really showed it in the new episodes. But he obviously had his eye bandaged up. I was like, oh shit, yeah, he lost an eye. I forgot about the
right.
arm, bro.
Oh yeah. But
I
that's the
was so
thing, man. Is
sad when
like
he lost that arm because he was like my favorite character in it.
I know, but but wasn't it so cool when he pushed so
Oh,
hard at the end of it?
it was epic. But I was sad to see him go because I was like, fuck, this guy's like such a great mentor, and I think he'd be like a great teacher for the lads.
Oh yeah.
So it was kind of
And he
sad to see
is.
him
He's
walk
going
away
to
at the
be.
end. But now he will be, yeah, of course. But like from we only found that out today. Like like the last we saw of him in the show, he was like kind of walking off into the sunset with his three wives. Like so,
Yeah.
Yeah.
but he still has so much to do, and it's kind of funny. It's like just when I thought I was out, they pulled me back in kind
Yeah,
of
yeah.
situation. But like
Exactly.
it's cool. Like, and I'm also wondering, are we going to see the other retired Hashiras that they were talking about? Because we've only got Tengen right now.
Yeah.
Are we going to
I got
see the original, like Tanjiro's original? I can't remember his name, or Zenitsu's original. Like,
yeah.
because they
I
those are
I
pillars for
that was
sure.
my understanding of it, was that we were gonna get introduced to a load of old retired Hashira. Yeah.
I'm super excited about that. I want to.
When
I
does it
can't wait to
start?
see them.
When does it
Uh,
start?
it just says spring.
And like when it
Anytime
when
during
it
spring.
when it airs for the first time, will it air sub and dub together? Or
They
like will
should.
it be like it's not gonna be a situation where it's gonna be in like sub for like 6 months and they have to wait for them to dub it? Like did they release it like the same time?
For a show this exciting and this popular, I think they're going to do both sub and dub at
Yeah.
the same time. It'd be fucking blasphemy for them not to do it at the same time, because it'd be so hard
Yeah.
for the dub community to really want to see it in sub. Like, they might
Yeah.
still do it because they just want to make sure they don't get, like, spoiled on it later on.
True. True. Yeah.
Um it's just it's hard to tell at this time, but a lot of the times nowadays, a lot of shows are being both done in dub and sub at the same time.
Mhm.
And so when they
Yeah.
release, you can watch it. Like we were talking to go a while ago about Mashal,
Mhm.
and how, like, I would love for you to watch Mashal. I've only watched a few episodes so far, and I love it so far. It's actually living up to the hype. I think it's really good. Very much a Harry Potter style because of all the things that he has to do, and they changed the names of the different activities.
Yeah.
Like, literally, they have Quidditch in the show, but they call it, like, I think, Bulo or something like that, or Buelo.
Okay.
Like, but it's just the way that he does it because he has no magic ability himself.
Mhm.
He's just an incredibly strong character. If you've seen, like, the trailers and whatnot, like, he's literally doing, like, push-ups, sit-ups. He's, like, holding these, like, gigantic weights and, like, just holding them like this.
Yeah.
It's just fucking, like, and he's just eating cream puffs.
Yeah.
And that's
Yeah. I
it's
watched that
so
trailer
good.
that you sent me, and like straight away it was like Harry Potter meets Demon Slayers. It's like just what I saw, like straight away. It was so obvious, like.
But yeah,
Would
like, going back to it though, like, it's definitely going to be an exciting situation watching it in both dub and sub for both of us, because, like, I know that you're mostly dub, and I
all dub,
understand
bro.
that you want to see the visuals, but I'll tell you this right now. In terms of, like, what you said about me and Andre, like, we've basically watched so much of it that it's so easy for us to get back to the
Yeah.
scene the moment we read it. So, like, if you notice, like, if you ever watch me watch, I'll go like this. I'll be like, down, up, down, up. All right, I've
Yeah.
seen it. Like, I already read it and I'm
Yeah.
watching. So I'm
Yeah.
like, I'm on it. So
I like
but I totally understand the feeling.
there's certain like even what show was I watching recently? Uh Griselda on Netflix. It's the new show with Sofia Vergara, and she's Griselda Blanco, the fucking cocaine dealer. It's all about like it's like the cocaine war, fucking Miami wars in like the 80s and shit. Like it's fucking fantastic. She's kind of like the female Pablo Escobar, like, but
Mhm.
sh most of the show is in Spanish, and normally that would turn me off a show, but I watched the first episode of it, and like a lot of the first episode was in English, and then they started like creeping the Spanish in, and the subtitles were coming up, and I was just like, oh, I fucking hate reading these subtitles. But like the story was so good, it like captivated you so quickly that I was like, I need to watch this, like, so,
Oh yeah.
but I was annoyed, like, I was getting annoyed because, like, there was these, like, big, massive, long dialogue scenes of, like, 5, 6 minutes of just pure dialogue, and you're just sitting there reading it, like, it's not hard to read, but I just find it annoying that you have to sit there and read while you're watching something, I want to be watching facial expressions, and I want to be looking around the room and seeing what's there, like, I'm like this in real life as well, like, if I'm out in public, like I'm always looking around me to see what's around me and all this stuff, like. So like that's just kind of the person I am. Like I take everything in, like, and I've even noticed like my daughter is like that as well. Like she goes to somewhere new and she's like scanning the room for different things and changes and stuff like that. Like so, for me, it's like I want to be looking around the room. I want to see everything, and it's the same when I'm watching these shows and when I'm watching Demon Slayer. Like I want to see every fucking color in it. I want to see every, every sword swing. Like I want to watch it all. I don't want to be like reading the subtitles, trying to get back into the thing, like reading more subtitles. It's tough. It's
Yeah.
tough.
No, for sure it's tough, but like I said, just it's the technique of like seeing
Yeah,
it quickly under like and just skimming. Like you don't even have to read the whole thing, just skim and you'll be like,
yeah.
okay, I get it. And
See,
and
I think as well, like you're a big fan of like the original actors' voices and stuff like that, like with One Piece and stuff. So I
oh
can
yeah.
kind of understand why you want to be in the sub world because, again, it's more authentic or whatever. But again, I only know Demon Slayer as the dub, like, and I think if I was to listen to it with the sub, it'd be weird to me now. I've been
Yeah.
adapted to the dub, so I was like, why would I change now?
Oh yeah, like when Katie and I were watching One Piece, like there was a time where she was like, "I'm gonna cook," and I said, "Well, do you want to wait until and watch One Piece, or do you want me to try the dub and see if you be able to withstand that?" So we watched one episode, and she's like,
The
"You
voices
don't
are all
like the
different. It's
voices?"
so
Yeah,
different. Yeah,
'cause
yeah,
it's so hard because like it was during the time when they were starting to work into the Dressrosa arc for One Piece, where they were starting to head over, and so
yeah,
you get a glimpse of Don Quixote do Flamingo, and it's that like that deep voice of him, like, and the fact that like he's got this deep like feel to it, and then the laugh, like like it's so good. And
yeah,
then you listen into it in dub, and it's almost like my voice
yeah.
for
It's just
Doflamingo, and I'm like, what?
yeah, I don't know how they get there. Like, obviously, it's very hard to replicate a sub voice into a dub, like, without it
There-
sounding fucking
but there's
weird.
like but there's thousands upon thousands of like voice actors who are probably like itching to get into this, who
True.
have a similar voice that can portray that, and for some reason they just want to go with someone else, or notable people, which like I think it just really does a disservice to the show itself. I think you could really match the voice as best as you can and still convey the same kind of like output.
Hmm.
But I mean, you cast who you cast, I guess. Like I don't know how that works, to be honest.
I find like when I go on to, and again, I can only really talk about Demon Slayer. It's the only really show I know kind of deeply in the anime world. But when I open up Netflix, and like there was a time where Demon Slayer was spotlighted at the top of Netflix. So when I would open, like when you would open up Netflix and it would come up on the spotlight, it would actually play it in the sub. So I would hear the actual original voice for Tanjiro and stuff. And like it sounded so weird to me, like, because I'm
Mm.
so used to the dub voice now. So the original voice sounds wrong to me. Like, so I suppose it's kind of just how you start off and how you take in the content, like, I suppose.
Yeah, I could see that. But at the same time, I've rewatched Dragon Ball and Dragon Ball Z in sub over dub,
Mhm.
and it's not bad. It's really
Yeah.
not that bad. But like I do see like the importance of having like watch the dub and seeing how like strong of a scream that like the voice actor for Dragon like for Goku does. Like he
Yeah.
literally is at the point of passing out from all that screaming, which I think
I've
is
seen
really
it. I've
insane.
seen it.
Yeah.
Where he goes like Super Saiyan or whatever.
Yeah.
It's crazy. I've seen it, yeah, and it's like you think like, how is he gonna get higher in his voice? And he just keeps going to that next level, the next level. Oh, it's crazy, dude. Yeah, it's really cool. Very impressive. One final question on Demon Slayer, because I was thinking about it today, because obviously I had to go see this on my own. I hate going to the cinema by myself. But like
I
my
love it
missus,
honestly.
I'm not a fan. I find it to be a bit strange. Like I was sitting beside a woman and her daughter. Obviously, the daughter's a fan. The woman who was their mother like wasn't a fan, but like I could see, like I was kind of sitting there. I just got out of the gym as well. I had like a gym bottle, and I was kind of just sitting there chilling with my Nezuko t-shirt on, living life like a little fanboy. And like I could see this woman looking at me, kind of like, "What are you doing here by yourself?" It was kind of like she's kind of like, "What the fuck?" And yeah, it just kind of felt a bit strange because obviously she'd brought her daughter. I saw there was another girl like who was probably like 12 or 13, and she was dressed up as Nezuko as well. Like it was pretty cool. Like, um, but yeah, like I don't know, I just looked like a bit of a weirdo there by myself.
Dude, real quick while we're on that subject of like seeing people in the theater. So we went to AMC And we got we bought our tickets and whatnot, and um, they had a Demon Slayer combo. So like it has like the Demon Slayer logo and stuff on that. It's got
Sick.
the Hashira training arc and
Yeah.
the title card for it. And you get the bucket, you get a cup, you get the popcorn that goes with it, and you get your drink. So Katie went into the theater, and because it's like reclining seats, there's a section in the middle that's like blocked off. So
Mhm.
you have to make sure you're in the right spot, because if you go into the wrong spot, you're basically not gonna be able to pass through. Um,
Okay.
so she goes all the way up to the wrong spot, and she's like, "Fuck, I'm in the wrong spot." So she goes back, but she said that as she was walking back, she could hear the people like, "Shit, they got a fucking demon. They got Demon Slayer bucket. They got a Demon Slayer." I'm like, "Did you not see what was out there? Go
Go
get
back.
it. Yeah, go get
Refund
it."
your shit. Yeah. Did you see, speaking about like buckets and shit, did you see the Dune 2 one? It's
Oh,
like
that is
big talk online.
horrifying.
It's terrible, man. Imagine trying to get popcorn out of that thing.
Yeah.
Because I heard of some few people who actually got it. They're like, it's actually difficult to get the popcorn out of the bucket. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, it's real weird,
It's
dude.
it's
It's real weird.
ridiculous.
Yeah, it is. It's really weird. Um, Last topic of the night might be a quick one, but did you see the Acolyte, which is the new Star Wars show that's coming out? Did you see the leaks from Acolyte?
Yeah, I saw the leaks.
Did you see the trailer? The leaked trailer?
Yeah. I'm not too sure what's being conveyed there, other than the fact that they're in the Jedi Temple, correct?
Yeah, so like I think this show is set maybe 100 years before episode 1 or something like that.
Okay.
And the kind of leaked kind of story or plot of the story is that um there's a little girl like living in a village, and the village, I think the Jedi come and help out the village every so often, and basically they come to this village, find a young child there who's like, they sense she's very high in the Force, and they take her away, but she has a twin sister or something, and the twin becomes a Sith. It's kind of Jedi versus Sith sort of thing, and they're told that there was, there's I think they say something along the lines of like, if you come and, like, the little girl's like, I'll go and train to become a Jedi, but you have to save my village or whatever. And then I think the Sith come in and destroy the village, but they think that the Jedi did. It's kind of that classic story. Like, so I don't know if like the sister thinks that the Jedi did it, but it was really the Sith or whatever. So that she becomes a Sith to try and kill the Jedi and so on. So I don't really know much else apart from that. Sounds good on paper. The trailer looks pretty cool. Like, we're getting to see the temple and all that sort of stuff, and loads of little Padawans learning. There's like groups of Jedi like fighting. They're all igniting their lightsabers at the same time, and all looks really fucking cool. Um, a lot of people give episode 2 shit. Attack of the Clones is like regarded as one of the worst Star Wars movies. But when I saw that as a kid, like, I fucking loved that movie because it was just like all the Jedi fighting in the Colosseum and everything. Like, it was just like so
Right.
amazing to see. Like, because as a kid, like, it was always just Luke, or you got to see Obi-Wan and Qui-Gon in the first one, and it's like, oh my god, there's 2 Jedi now fighting, and you're like, holy shit, holy shit. And it's like this one comes on, and it's like, holy fuck, there's like 100 of them. Like, I was like, this is insane. So like, it was always kind of me as a kid going like, oh, I'd love to see like armies of Jedi and stuff. And this was like, now we're kind of getting to see that sort of stuff, and it's in my opinion very cool. Um,
Mhm.
but yeah, like, I'm kind of excited for the show. Like, Carrie Ann Moss is in it. I don't know who else is starring in it, but like, from what I saw, again, the trailer that came out or got leaked was someone was recording on a phone or something in like a special screening or some shit. And like, it's if you want to watch it, it's on the internet. I'm sure you can find it. But it looks good. It looks good. I'm excited. Star Wars has had a pretty bad rap as of late, and I think a show like this, if they can put out some interesting content, I think this could be not the savior of Star Wars, but like, it could be a step in the right direction for sure.
Well, for sure. Like I really agree with that. I think that it's nice that we're going to get kind of like a dual side situation. I would love for it to be very much like in an episodic way, where you see the light side on one episode, you see the dark side on the other, and you get about, I don't know, like 10 episodes full, even I would say 12, 6 each, kind of merging into the single episodes, like between like the battle between both of them by the end of the series or by the end of the season. And then you reach that ultimate resolution, which I think would be like fantastic. I think that we're overdue for seeing kind of like the growth of the Sith And
Yeah.
at least seeing something in terms of like Sith, like, seeing a Sith temple, seeing Sith like artifacts, seeing Sith, you know, hieroglyphs, any sort of like writings, teachings, anything that could give us any more information on who the Sith are and what they do besides trying to take over the galaxy.
Yeah.
I
Absolutely.
think that would be so beneficial if they can get that down right. Um, it like again, I'm still on like the hinges of this, thinking that they're just going to really shoehorn the light side and make it more about the light, which I think is very like it's a big downplay on the Sith Empire. Like I think it would be so cool to have it like literally equal, like literally the balance between them in episodes.
Yeah. Yeah. I know. I think it would be good. I don't really know a lot about there's like that time in Star Wars before episode one and kind of after like the old Republic and stuff. It's kind of all grey to me. Like I didn't really read a lot of it, but the stories of like Plagueis and stuff like that. I don't know if the Rule of Two came out around that time, so I don't know if there technically should only be two at this stage as well, or if there could be like mountains of Sith around at this time in history. Like, but time will tell, I suppose. Um, yeah, I'm excited, and then I think there's whispers of Ahsoka season two and whispers of Kenobi season two maybe coming out, and I think Hayden says he wants to do more as Vader and Anakin and stuff. So, obviously I'm down for all that, but I just don't know how they're going to do it or where they're going to do it. I wouldn't be surprised if, we see in Filoni's movie, maybe flashbacks or something like that on the big screen with Anakin and stuff and Obi-Wan and all. Like, that'd be kind of cool. Maybe they try and save them for the big screen to try and, put out some fires. But I don't know, man. Star Wars is like I'll always watch it. It's one of my first loves. Is Star Wars, and I will forever watch all the content, but I won't hold my breath. Let's just say that they're kind of burning bridges left and right. So yeah, that's kind of it for tonight, really. I don't really know if we've got anything really to talk about next week. For some reason, I thought that the House of the Dragon was coming soon, but now I think it's not till like summer or something. So I don't know how I had that in my head. I don't know if I read something wrong somewhere, but I did see we got the release date for The Boys season 4 as well, which I think is June.
June
So
13, I think.
yeah, that's gonna be really cool. Like the trailer for that looked fucking incredible. So yeah, I don't know. We'll keep your ear to the ground and maybe DM me during the week, or if anybody in the chat has anything they want to talk about next week, pop it into Discord or whatever. But
Yeah, give us some ideas. The only thing I can think of right now is that I still haven't watched Echo. I didn't have
okay,
time this week, but I can do it. I can do it this coming week, and we can
yeah,
talk
we
about that. We haven't.
we never.
We never reviewed it.
Yeah, we didn't. Again, I watched it as it was new. I think I did it in two sittings. I might actually maybe rewatch it, or me rewatch some of it if we're gonna do a bit of a late breakdown of it. Um, but yeah, like I definitely want to hear your opinion on it, and I definitely wouldn't mind hearing the community's opinion on it as well. If we haven't talked again, I talked about it a little bit on my Twitch channel, but it'd be good to have a proper discussion about it. So yeah, maybe we can do
Mhm.
an echo episode next week. I can't imagine it's gonna do very well in the algorithm, but who gives a shit? you know, it is what it is. Guys, massive shout out to anybody who was listening to us or watching us over on Twitch today. We're sitting on 10 viewers over there at the moment, which is really nice. If you're listening to us on Spotify or anything like that, like, drop a follow, leave a review. Make sure you hit the follow button on Twitch. Make sure you hit the subscribe button on YouTube. Leave a comment, leave a like, do all those bits. They love all that in the algorithm. And we'll see you next week. Bye, guys. Have a great one.
Have a good one,
Bye,
guys.
bye, 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 bye.